I'm going to start with congratulations to the two of you. I thought you both did such a great job in the film. I want to jump into, I'm a big fan of George as both an actor and as a director. I'm curious what he is like on set. Is he more like Clint Eastwood, where he's doing one or two takes and moving on? Or is he more like a Fincher, doing a lot of takes?
Oh no, he's definitely more Clint Eastwood. I think he's someone who really appreciates when other people put value on his time, and so therefore he very much treats everyone else around him in the way he would like to be treated. It's not that you feel rushed. It's just that he absolutely knows what he's after, and he allows for preparation. He makes sure that the script gets to you in time. A lot of the time, what you're dealing with is just logistically and practically, you're being given sides on the day, and there's not a lot of respect around what it takes for an actor to give a good performance. And in ways that are almost imperceptible, George creates an environment where you get to do your work well. And so it means by the time you get to the set, you're actually as prepared as you need to be for him to be able to move things along quite quickly. And so it's actually a very seamless, incredibly civilized way of working.
Switching gears, one of the things that I like about movies is when they don't answer every question. The imagination is always better than what, an explanation. Saying that, I am curious if the two of you, for each of you, came up with your own theories as to what actually happened on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. From what I can remember, George was quite careful in not. He didn't want it to be. He didn't want to get too specific and too stuck into the details of what had happened. It was very much that there had been an apocalyptic moment. That obviously when you see that vision of Earth, it's pretty bad. But I think we presumed there'd been some sort of nuclear explosion, something in that vein. I mean, it would have been interesting if it had been a worldwide pandemic, and then we'd have,
No, they would think we started it, Felicity. No,
yeah, exactly.
The biggest publicity stunt of all time.
Oh, actually, for both of you, I'm curious, what is it like watching a movie like this for the first time, because you weren't on set for half the movie? So there has to be like a reaction for you that you really don't know how it was filmed or what people were doing on the day. So for each of you, can you talk about your reaction seeing the finished film?
For me, it was almost like I was only in a quarter of the movie, because yes, you have the George Clooney with the little girl in Iceland and all that craziness. But for us, so much of the film or our section of the film was built after we had shot our stuff in terms of VFX. Obviously, we're shooting in space, and so therefore space has to now be inputted into the film, even though we were interacting with that environment, obviously not being in that environment. So, there are occasionally these films where you are just as awed by watching the film as the audience around you. I watched it with my wife, and she looked at my expression now and again. It was almost as if I hadn't been there when we were shooting the film, because it was just so awe-inspiring. I was so impressed by the fact that George was in that unbelievable environment while directing and acting and just being so cold, but then just so impressive what the visual effects of the film were after we had shot our stuff as well.
Yeah, it was actually, it was fascinating watching it, and just how beautifully constructed it was and how artful it is. And that opening sequence with the blood running around as George is doing the chemotherapy, I really was totally struck by that imagery, because you never quite know how a film is going to turn out, but just and exploring such pertinent themes, and it's incredibly moving and packs a huge punch by the end of the film. But it was, particularly watching it now in the moment that we find ourselves in, it's just, you're watching it, looking for hope and looking for answers to this situation that we find ourselves in.